can say that as a confident man myself. You see him on CBS doing NFL. You've heard him on NBA. He is the great Spero Dedes, the best Greek man next to Petros Papadakis that I ever know. What's going on there, Spero?
Tony, you will forever be the sexiest man in sports broadcasting.
Well, thank you, sir. You can tell we.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Not as good as you. I mean, because you always look good, you sound good. I mean, I don't get it, man. You got great hair.
Well-dressed.
Well-dressed, man.
Yeah, it's getting a little grayer. It's starting to recede a little bit, but it's good that the networks use the old photos, like the stock photos. It's awesome.
Exactly.
They don't ask us to update our headshots, which is always good.
And you can't even get to Just for Men. Now, can you go into a salon out there, or is that forbidden in California where you live now?
No, we're going to be the last state that I think opens things up. We're very progressive, very to the left out here, as you know. Although where I live in Orange County, it is kind of a Republican-laden area, but yeah, I think we're still a few weeks away from that.
Are you cutting your own hair?
If you can send me some hair care for men, that'd be awesome.
Are you cutting your own hair?
Luckily, my folks have been staying with us. My folks live in North Jersey, and we've kept them here because of, obviously, the mess that Jersey has been. So my mother is actually a retired beautician, so she's been cutting our hair, and we actually look semi-presentable.
Clean.
So it's been a nice little perk.
Was she able to get within 6 feet of you to cut your hair, though? I don't know if the Governor Newsom or Mayor Garcetti will be breaking into your home now with police and horses.
We are not observing social distancing in the house, so she has, yes.
So, Spero, obviously NFL season. NFL's been the only sport that has been able conducting their businesses. No, none of the field stuff, none of the OTAs, but they got the Super Bowl in Miami before everything happened. Then they had the Combine, and that was finally shut down in progress, but at least they got it going. And then the draft came off. So the NFL's business is going on. Now the other sports, but before we get to the other sports, NFL, you do CBS games. What are you hearing? Because, one day you're hearing Major League Baseball is going to try the 3-division thing and try to start on July 4th. The NFL, I keep hearing all this different stuff. What are you hearing, and what do you think is going to happen with the NFL this fall?
Well, first of all, it was amazing to have the draft and to just have a sporting event, something that we could all kind of look forward to and get in front of the TV and just kind of act like everything's normal for a couple of days. That was really nice. In terms of the future, Tony, every day, when I'm talking to my colleagues and we're all calling each other, what have you heard? What's the latest? And the consensus seems to be that no one knows anything. It's all guesswork at this point. Our point people have been at CBS, and look, up until this point, because of where the NFL stacks up on the calendar, they have been the least affected. Now, obviously, teams have canceled their off-season programs, and that's kind of a big deal. We have all kind of quietly stayed positive that the season is either A, going to start on time, or B, going to start and be played in some capacity. The news we just saw today that the NFL, has announced that they're going to start furloughing certain employees, that the NFL is going to start furloughing employees, are going to start to cut salaries from certain people in the league office. You start to hear things like that, and then it becomes a little bit concerning. But, unfortunately, I have no news. We're all just trying to wait and see and hoping that we get some good news soon because, things look bleak. Certainly, when you cover sports and you talk about sports, it's one thing. But we all have friends that are, in the service industry, in the restaurant business. So it's a concerning, scary time for a lot of people.
By the way, I have breaking news, and it's bad news for you in California, Spero. My correspondent in California, Don Collins, says the announcement in the last hour, California will be shut up now until the end of May. So it's not going to be a soft opening. The governor said, he's going to keep the entire state shut down. The Orange County numbers are obviously lower, but he's not going to do like this area is not as bad. It's been closed now. You are shut down now till the end of May with the possibility of movement pending necessary progress or the progress that they feel is necessary to start opening stuff up. Your thoughts?
Well, bummer for sure. Not a big surprise, just based on everything we've heard and listening to to Gavin Newsom's press conferences every day. You always get the sense that they are going to be as cautious as humanly possible. The question for me is, and logistically for the NFL and for every sports league, the NBA and MLB, is how this affects what potential seasons look like. And the Surgeon General of California, I can't remember what his official title was, said a couple of weeks ago that he didn't foresee large gatherings being allowed in the state of California until at least Thanksgiving at the earliest. And obviously that throws a major wrench into what the NFL's eventual plans will be. So, the news today is not good. I don't know what it exactly means for the NFL and for some of these other sports leagues. I know the NBA has talked about Vegas and MLB has talked about Florida and Arizona. But, the NFL is kind of a different animal. And the NFL without fans, I think more so than the other sports, it's so far from what we're used to. The 50, 60,000 seat stadiums and some bigger. I don't know that any of us can imagine it without fans, but it seems the longer this goes and the longer this drags out, to me it's the only real positive and realistic scenario that exists right now for the NFL to come back.
Yeah, and for me, Spero, the college football season without fans, to me, is almost something that I can't even possibly imagine. I mean, some of these great venues and some of the great rivalries and conferences. I mean, the ambiance is a big part of the production.
Yeah, to me, college guys is even harder because of what you just mentioned. And, initially they were saying, well, we can play college football without fans. Obviously, it's a totally different scenario with student athletes. So unless they allow the students back on campus, I don't know how you play college football. Mm-hmm. Then there's the first and foremost, these student athletes are there to be educated. So, obviously there's people can make their comments about, certain universities put a little less stock into that. But college will be very, very tricky. I know Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler kind of threw out there a couple of weeks ago that maybe they moved the season back to the spring. Then that seemed to be shut down a little bit. I have no clue what college football is going to do. I mean, that to me is even more of an issue because there are other factors involved, education and campuses. The NFL, we know, it's a business, at least on paper, and so they can kind of not worry about certain things that the NCAA has to worry about. So, I would hate to be a decision maker in those rooms. I mean, to me, there's just a lot of issues, a lot of logistical nightmares that they're going to have to fight through.
John Heyman, by the way, great baseball writer, is just 10 minutes ago said there's now growing optimism for an MLB season. We mentioned earlier about the 3 different divisions, Eastern teams, Central teams,
10
and West,
teams in each.
10 teams, so the 30 teams will be split. Now, John Heyman just reports that there's growing optimism for a baseball season with a big preference still to play in as many MLB cities as possible. The 3-site concept, though played up in the media and interesting, is down on the current list with the single-site Arizona plan type as the last resort. And so they're trying to figure it out. The NBA's trying to figure it out. We heard the other day about since Atlanta's opening, maybe some of the players in the Atlanta area can go in and work out individually, not as a team.
Even NBA, they're a facility
in the NBA,
too.
In the facilities. And then Mark Cuban comes out and says, no, I still don't think it's a good idea. So the NBA is still hanging in the balance. Baseball's trying to move forward, and hockey is trying to do the same thing. So right now, I mean, I don't know what you're out there. You follow the NBA. I mean, I saw the Lakers gave their money back, and they're paying their employees out in Los Angeles. But what are you hearing about the NBA coming back?
Everyone seems to be, or most people I speak to, are holding out optimism that they're going to figure out a way. And I think, to really understand the predicament and the urgency that the NBA has with Adam Silver and everyone at the front office, we have to remember what happened back in September and October with China. The Daryl Morey tweet, the financial catastrophe that was. I think I read somewhere that they lost almost $500 million, probably more with all the deals that were canceled between China and the U.S. and the NBA. So they already have that on their balance sheet. So I think it just gives them even more incentive to wait until the last possible minute before they would have to make the unthinkable decision to cancel the season. Now, all that said, the doctors and the health professionals, the healthcare professionals are going to be the ones at the end of the day to make the decision. And the other part of this, guys, I think, is we talk about MLB and the NBA and the NHL and the NFL. None of these leagues wants to be the first to kind of step out onto the plank, because if you make a decision to start early and suddenly you've got employees and players and everyone coming down with this COVID-19 and the spike kind of starting up again, obviously no one wants to be in that predicament. So it's just, there's so many landmines to this thing, there's so many pitfalls. It's going to be fascinating to see which of these sports leagues kind of steps forward and makes a decision to be the first to go.
I don't know about you, Spero and Harry. To me, one day I feel really good about something happening,
Yeah.
and then the next day it's like, I don't think we're going to have any sports this year.
I know.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions. You keep thinking, wow, Georgia's off, Texas is going to do stuff, golf courses.
I've done so many 180s on this.
Yeah, you're thinking, wow, this looks good. The curve has been flattened, and people are starting to go out on beaches and stuff. And then it's like, oh, no. And you're right about sports. Nobody wants to be the first to make that move.
Yeah, guys, it's crazy. I mean, you read that the French Soccer League has already made the announcement that they're going to cancel games until next year. So I'm with you, Tony. One day you're positive, you feel good about it. Then the next day you hear what the governor says, and California shut down for another month. I'll say this, as careful as we want to be as a society, forget sports. At some point, we just have to bite the bullet, take a chance, and open the country up because I don't know how much longer the economy could survive.
I know.
I got family in Greece who are dealing with this on a whole different level. Greece was just coming out of a recession when this thing started.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's the economy is going to shrink. They're saying by at least 10%. So I just don't know how long we can survive. So I think slowly but surely, as hard as it is, we're going to have to see states and more of the country open up, and then hopefully part of that equation will be some of these sports leagues come back because, man, we all like to consider ourselves very strong, and our inner fortitude is there. But my God, the longer this thing goes, I think the harder it is for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think, at least from the NBA's perspective, forget about the rest of the regular season. There was only a couple handfuls of games left anyway. But if you're LeBron James and the Lakers, you're looking at a team that could have won an NBA championship. LeBron, it would be his fourth. He's in his mid-30s. What is he, 35? How many more other opportunities, especially because that team would be broken up to a large degree because it had a lot of old players on it. If they can't play a playoff series and have a chance to win a championship, that's time you're never going to get back.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
It's a great point. We were just talking about this the other day, and look, there aren't many fans outside of L.A. that are going to ever feel sorry for the Lakers, with the amount of success that they've had. But, you never know what the future holds. I mean, like you said, LeBron, as great as he is and as amazing as he's been physically at his age with the tread on his tires, you don't know what the future holds. You don't know if next year or whenever the play resumes that he's going to be able to hold up over the course of a season. Everything was aligned for them so perfectly, and to now have this season, where it is now with, we don't know if they're going to play and who knows what it looks like when they come back, it's potentially devastating for them. And, you look at a team like Golden State, guys, they were on this incredible run. Finally, they kind of come back down to earth, and now this. I mean, how great would it be right now to be Steve Kerr?
Yeah.
You get to kind of wipe away what was a disastrous season, and, if the season doesn't resume, everyone just kind of forgets about it, and they get to reload and kind of think about next year. But, all I can say is we're just hoping we're talking about the NBA in a couple of weeks and later this summer.
The other guy who's happy here in Philly is the Sixers head coach, Brett Brown, who has the heat off him for a couple of months because, the Sixers were looking good, and then they had, guys were hurt, and then Embiid got hurt, and then, the other guy can't shoot, and this guy doesn't play with that. He refuses to shoot, and all this other stuff going. But he keeps going out to L.A. at least, though. A lot of the Sixers players go out to L.A. and have fun out there and work out, I guess.
Brett Brown is going to have the best, greatest book, I think, when his career is done. I mean, that guy, the roller coasters he's been on, my God. The process, and then to have a team, perennial playoff contender the last couple of years, and now this, my God. I love Brett Brown, by the way. We've had a chance to visit with him a bunch over the years. I know the Philly media has been a little tough on him, but good guy, stand-up guy.
Oh, yeah. No one dislikes him. I don't even dislike him in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a fan too, and I don't root against the guy.
Sure.
But the fans here, as you know, and I'm a Philly guy, so I'm not one of these guys who rips fans from other cities. I can see it. I mean, the draft. It doesn't matter what happens here. And the old adage, like if the Eagles ever won a Super Bowl, this town would finally be at peace. That lasted like 2 weeks, I think.
For a week, yeah. Trust me, I grew up in New York. I know all about that stuff. But, look, it's what makes New York and Philly and Boston so great to live in as a sports fan.
But L.A.'s not too bad either, except when it's shut down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's different. Is that when the team is going well here, it's great. When it's not going well, the difference here is that people just kind of lose interest. The Lakers, of course, are their own animal. I mean, the Lakers aren't playing well and people go nuts, but there's just too much going on here. The weather's nice. I have a theory that the colder the weather, the angrier the sports fan.
Yep.
And so it's different here, but similar. It's an interesting kind of place to live and observe these sports franchises.
Exactly, the great Spero Dedes. And finally, the question is Greek food. Can you get takeout? I mean, you cook your own. I mean, how are you living in a world without? I know you got your mom there, but I mean, you cook yourself when your mom's not around.
Well, luckily, my wife is a gourmet cook, and she is from Greece.
Oh,
and so I get the authentic stuff.
there you go.
There you
I was
go.
going to say.
You can't order takeout with what we're eating here every day.
You can't be a Greek god like Spero Dedes and not have a Greek goddess, who not only a goddess, but a great Greek chef as well, gourmet.
Yeah, I'm going to play this for her later. She'll be very
Now,
happy.
does she do other fare, or is it just specifically Greek?
She dabbles. No, she's great. I mean, she dabbles. We make her own bread. She does a little Mexican. I mean, she's very, very versatile in the kitchen. You'd be very pleased. Next time you're out here, you look me up and you come hang.
Absolutely. Now, you break the dishes, you do the whole bit. You break the dishes and throw them against the wall. I mean, the whole bit.
We do that just on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
We break the dishes, and then the rest of the night we're team.
Now, how's your ouzo supply? That's what I want to know.
I have ouzo for guests, but I'm more of a Cipuro guy. Cipuro is like the Greek moonshine. It's kind of like the Greek grappa. Like the Italians like the grappa. We have our Cipuro.
That's the aperitif. That's not the digestif. No, that's the digestif, right? That's the after dinner. That's the after dinner.
Oh, we have it after. We have it before. There's no rules here.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
is doing the grocery shopping, is that your detail? And if so, what kind of an adventure is that out in California right now?
It's funny, all the stuff that I had, like the built-in excuse before, busy, prepping for a game, traveling.
All that's gone.
I mean, all that stuff's gone, man. Oh, my God. I've made more trips to Costco and to Ralph's and to Vaughn's in the last 7 weeks than I think I've made in the last 7 years.
Wait a minute, you're schlepping into Ralph's when they can deliver it to your house with all this stuff? Now everybody gets stuff ordered and they deliver it to you.
I'm just a regular dude, Tony. You
I
got me
know
all
that.
wrong.
No, I know that, but
I'm a man of the people. I like
so
to be
am I.
people.
Listen, I used to go to the Ralph's in the marina all the time. I mean, I was a regular in there. And then the bagging people would go on strike every month. They had the people that bag for you, and they were in a union.
Oh, is that
right?
right?
The people who bag groceries in L.A. are in a union, and when their union's not happy, the baggers go on strike. And then the person who checks out at the register has to bag for you, and then the managers have to come in and bag groceries. But now they don't even allow bags anymore, so I don't know what the hell's going on out there, Spida. Now, do they still bag groceries?
With this stuff going on, I've noticed that they have not been charging for plastic bags. So that's a plus. There's some positive news to come out of this.
Well, just don't throw any of that stuff in the Santa Monica Bay next time, man. You know
I won't. I stay far away.
Or the LA. Now, the LA River, you can throw anything in there because that's what you do.
There is an LA River?
Well, that's that concrete thing they call the LA
it's like
River.
an aqueduct or something.
They call it the LA River.
Okay.
The great Spero Dedes.
I don't want to know what's lurking under that body of water.
Nobody does. Trust me.
There's a lot of scenes in Bosch that are filmed.
Oh
in those aqueducts.
every horror movie, every crime detective movie, they always use the LA River. You know what I'm saying? Robin and I went out there once. We went on a date once one night. We slipped out there and wanted to see what it felt like parking in the LA River. Not in the water park, just up on the side banks.
Well, next time you come out, you come about 50 miles south, come down to Orange County, we'll have a nice little time.
Love the OC.
Nice little Greek meal for you.
Oh, beautiful, man. Any baklava? Any
whatever you like. You just give me your order. You give me your top 3 faves, and we'll have it all ready for you.
As long as you fly into an airport that Harrison Ford is not.
As long as Harrison Ford's not flying his private plane in and crossing.
I don't think he uses John Wayne Airport right up there.
Burbank Airport, phenomenal.
No,
John
Burbank
Wayne.
Is great.
Yeah. John Wayne down there.
That's the
John
Orange
Wayne.
County one. Yeah,
I know. I've been to all those airports, man.
Changed my life. Yeah. After flying at LAX, in and out of LAX for 10 years, John Wayne has changed.
Absolutely.
Life changer.
I hope they don't change his name because I'm trying to get his name off of there after the recent controversy a couple of years ago, which is insane. Spero, always great to talk to you, man. Thanks for catching up, man, and stay safe out there. But I know you are. You're going to be well fed. You're going to look good. Your mom's there to cut your hair. Everything's good, man.
Just getting fat. I'll be here getting fat. Always good to talk to you, brother.
It's good to be Spero Dedes, man. Thanks, brother. Thanks for checking in. The great.
Thanks,
let's
guys.
put your hands together.
There he is.
The great.
At Spero Dedes, Spero.